As I was telling him, like, Nate, can we do 4 press conferences this week? I got a lot of stuff I want to get out. So, and he was like, no, we're just going to do one on Thursday. And yeah.
Have you figured out Canisius's colors yet?
No. I'm gonna actually kind of get through today's practice, and then we're off tomorrow. I'll start digging in tomorrow.
Was there a connection on this game, or did you guys?
No, not that I'm aware of. Just scheduling. A lot of times it's just you got to be opportunistic on both ends, and the dates obviously worked out, and sometimes scheduling a home opener is not easy. So you obviously Canisius is a program that's been around for a while, and the coach has been around for a long time, even though he's just starting there. So we're going to come in with a lot of respect for him.
Have you ever coached against Jim Christian before?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
With moving into the Big 12, I know some of these games on your non-conference schedule had already been set up, the home and homes and all that, but do you anticipate a change to your non-conference scheduling to balance things out with the tougher league schedule?
Well, we want to be a national program, so we want to schedule, as such, and but you also want to protect your program and make sure you're doing the best thing for each individual team. Do you end up with a young team one year and you need to get experience? Do you have a really good veteran team that you really need to go challenge? I mean, I think there's always there's a little bit of art to scheduling, and by no way, shape, or form have I mastered that. But we're gonna kind of be in a good mode where we're kind of assessing everything. But I do really enjoy playing a really challenging non-conference schedule. I mean, it's something I think there's a lot of value not only for our program but just for the game of college basketball in general.
Do you prefer this system in college basketball where it's kind of year to year as opposed to football that has games scheduled out 8 years?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that makes no sense to me. But I don't understand a lot of things about football, so that's not like a negative. For me, it's I couldn't imagine being a coach and you walk in and here's your schedule. That to me that's crazy.
Since we're catching up maybe on a little bit on schedule, I think years ago there was a thing here where y'all were supposed to start with NAU every year for like 10 years. And then obviously with Liam playing up there, you didn't want to do that. Could that go back at some point? Or?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll revisit that. I mean, that was just, a family issue, and, I didn't necessarily want to, be playing against my son. And, I think he was all for it. So that was 100% on me. And fortunately, between Shane and myself and in our athletic directors, we were able to kind of, common sense, in my opinion, was able to prevail, and we were able to kind of push it back a little bit.
What about Gonzaga? That one was still hanging out there too. And I know you may beat them in Bahamas anyway, but I think you still kind of technically owe them a game up there. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm sure that we'll talk about, down the line, and nothing has been set up, firm on that. So.
Jeffries was joking on the broadcast that Liam might be in the doghouse because we hadn't seen him in the first 2 games.
Yeah, well, Liam had a strained oblique, and so he was out for a couple weeks, and he just started practicing a little bit. So hey, you don't practice, you don't play. I mean, it's the same for everybody.
Is that for picking up the baby? He's not in dad shape?
Well, no, I think he's in dad shape. He and Hallie are doing a great job with Luca. So I think it was more just he got kind of pressured and contorted on a pass, and I've never strained an oblique. So but I don't know. So he'll be okay.
Is your favorite thing about being a grandfather?
Oh wow, it's just awesome. It's awesome in a lot of levels. It's awesome, seeing your kids take that next step in their life and become parents, and to see them do it well. It's been a lot of fun. He and Hallie have done a great job. Luca is an incredibly happy little guy, and so it's been fun. And it's just fun. Yesterday I went home from work, and my wife had some friends over, and Hallie was over there with Luca, and I got to come home and spend some time with them and help them out a little bit, and it's a great I guess distraction from your real job, to kind of get back to that stage. And kids are amazing. I mean, I couldn't imagine our lives without kids for my wife and I. But, you get to a point where your kids start getting a little older and don't need you as much anymore, at least for those early parenting things. They need you for money in their bank account and things of that nature. So there's that gap, where they kind of grow up, and we didn't expect the gap to be replaced so quick with a grandchild, but it's awesome that it is having a baby back in our lives, and hopefully we have a bunch of grandkids down the line.
Was Liam that kid that had the mini basket right away? I mean, did you have him going in basketball?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Ball in the hand, and doing massage techniques to try to work on the elbow and wrist flexibility, for follow-throughs and stuff like that. Yeah, 100% he was.
So, adding, well, I was going to ask you about Krivas, of course, anyway, but any update on, well, do you think either him or Liam, for that matter, is available Monday? Or how?
Yeah, they both practiced yesterday. Now, listen, one's availability is probably more important than the other. Let's just be frank there. Krivas, he actually, he's been doing more and more on a daily basis. He practiced, for a good segment yesterday, and, I think he's going to, try to go again today. So, yeah, we're just, I'm not going to rush that thing. Like I've told you guys, I'm leaving it up to J-Rock. I'm leaving it up to Krivas, and I think it's trending in the right direction. And when he's ready, we're ready for him.
Is it a little bit tricky because you want to rest him? You see the long-term picture, obviously, but maybe you don't want to throw him in cold at Wisconsin in the first game or something,
It's not tricky to me. He's a good basketball player. He's got enough experience now, and if J-Rock thought that was the best situation, then I would embrace it. I'm not getting worried about tricks or trying to be tricky. when he's ready, he'll be ready.
Assuming he's able to go, how deep do you anticipate the rotation, like the first half rotation?
I'm still a work in progress, and it's not like you get through the exhibition games and you're like, all right, guys, it's not the old Jim Wall in the locker room where you have your cuts and stuff like that. So you made it, you didn't make it. So I'm open-minded. I kind of like the way we've been rotating it so far. So we'll see if that continues. But I think all guys have done a good job. Making a case for themselves and being able to help us out. And I believe each one of them individually can help us out. Now we just got to kind of take the next steps and start putting it together. So it'll probably be a little bit of a work in progress in time. And I wouldn't read too much into the first half of the first game, the first sub, the third sub. Because I haven't, gotten that deep into it. So I just like where we're at. I think we have a lot of good options.
What would you say, I guess, is your biggest concern about this team going into the season?
I don't really have any concerns. I like where we're at. I like who we got. I believe in them wholeheartedly. I like the work they've done, and I love the direction they're going. So no, I've got no concerns. That doesn't mean things won't pop up over time as you deal with adversity and maybe get exposed on a few things. But sitting here today, I'm not saying we're a perfect team, but I feel really good about where we're at.
Is there maybe one or two things about this team that you think will surprise people?
I don't know, because I don't know what people's expectations are. So I don't know if people think there's things we can't do well and we're going to do them well and that's going to surprise them. I haven't spent, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't spent a lot of time outside of our program getting opinions on what they think of our team.
Jaden is obviously a more aggressive point guard offensively than what you've had here. What do you think that's
I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
What do you think his ability then to get to the basket is going to do for this?
Jaden's a really good player. He's a really good player who I think he understands, the importance of winning and what it takes to win. There's obviously been, conversations he and I have had on, of things I think he can do to help make him more effective. That'll ultimately make us more effective. And he's at 100% buy-in. I love where he's at. It was awesome to see the way he started last game, but, how he started last game doesn't necessarily going to be an indicator of how he's going to start the next game. You got to go out and do it again and be consistent and everything about, Jaden, from the second half of last season to the off season to where he's at now, has showed me that he's going to have the ability to be a consistent performer. So I got a lot of belief in him.
You mentioned before how quick that recruitment was with Anthony, and I'm wondering, could you go to a little more detail? I was wondering, was that 2-3 weeks, and when did he come on your radar? How did was he referred to you, or was it something because you knew the program was said before, or how did that?
Murph, had kind of had him on his radar, and we just got to a deal where I hadn't had much interaction or really any interaction with him, and he was looking at certain situations, we were looking at certain options, and it just kind of came together really, really quick. I mean, there wasn't, I'm not exaggerating when I had a conversation with him on one night, and the next day he was committed to us, and it's not lip service. I feel great about it. I think sometimes in this deal we overanalyze things, and sometimes opportunities come up, and they're great opportunities for both sides, and it's a little bit of a, I don't know, you could put it in the category just meant to be a little bit, but I love Deli, and I think he's going to really help this team this year. There might be, a little bit of time where he's kind of finding his way in a new role and a new team and a new level, but there might also be games where at halftime he's our leading scorer. So I love where he's at. I love what he brings to the table, and I just love his personality. I love how he carries himself. I love his seriousness, but I also love he's got a great sense of humor, and he interacts really easy with me, which I think is a good thing.
So in those quick instances, then, like the way it came together with him, what do you have to see to be finally sold that, okay, that's
there's not one thing. It's more of going to be an overall feel, and maybe just a conversation you have with him, and then this world of high level basketball is pretty small, so you can usually cross reference things with maybe other people that know him as well, and so I think you do a couple of those things, and it comes together, and I feel great about it. I mean, I feel really fortunate, to be honest with you, and I really appreciate him, trusting us to make it happen in such a short window.
Isn't that kind of crazy how you'll spend 3-4 years recruiting a guy like Carter and some others that don't even work out, and then boom, a guy who, like you say, maybe can really be a factor just falls.
Well, I think in recruiting you have to be able to wear multiple hats. I think the days of hanging your hat on one thing, I think one of the things we pride ourselves in as a staff is being diversified in how we recruit. Obviously people know we look at international players. We're not afraid of looking at McDonald's All-Americans. We're not afraid of signing kids that are out of the top 100. We're not afraid of taking a transfer, and so, we're not afraid of redshirting guys to develop them. So I think, we look at it, we want to have a diversified approach to where we're not just so dependent on one, avenue, because what if that avenue, gets pretty busy and there's a lot of other people there, or it dries up, So I've always felt that's really important, and how you recruit a transfer is probably a little bit different than how you recruit a 5-star.
Favorite Halloween candy?
A lot. Probably, I could make a list of things I really like, but, I think Almond Joy is always a good place to start, but, literally, there's not many I say no to. If you put those little bags in front of me, that little bowl of, whatever, bite-sized candies or whatever they are, or this, whatever, yeah. I'm not afraid of those. I'll eat 6 of those, and I won't eat the king-sized Butterfinger because I'm a little bit intimidated, but I'll eat, 2 times that if they're in smaller portions. So,
Did you happen to see the Pacers-Celtics game at all last night?
No, I just saw that Ben played well, and I honestly haven't caught up on any of the highlights, but Ben has it, and I know this. When Ben feels like he's got something to prove, I wouldn't bet against him.
You, I didn't know if we were gonna ask you, or get you today, but like, just you mentioned Emmanuel, I was just wondering if you've even approached that, or that still could happen as far as discussing, because I'm wondering, yeah, could you use him Monday, or do you think you maybe wouldn't want to, just in case, or?
Yeah, but we're gonna have those conversations in the next couple of days. But hey, like anything's here, I mean, the player is gonna have input. You know, it's not gonna be me sitting him down and telling him, okay, this is what you're doing. You know, we're gonna have input. You know, and give him some information and give him some opinions, and then we'll let him make the choice.
You haven't here, but I ever wondered at Gonzaga, did you ever have a situation where you planned on that and then somebody got hurt or some situation and then you pulled a player out maybe in December, January to play?
Not December, January. You know that I could think of, but I know there was a young skinny kid we recruited one year, who we told him he was going to gray shirt, then he was going to red shirt, then he could be a good time to maybe start his career, and the kid's name was Adam Morrison. He never gray shirted, he never red shirted. He started, and he was the third pick in the draft a couple years later. So, like, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's, but I can't think of a specific example, Bruce, where we've brought somebody off a red shirt. You know.
Well, so is there a bigger picture here? I know half the reason we're here is your season opener. Do you look at it at all? It just, you know, you had so much prep, but now that it's getting closer, your fourth season, et cetera, I mean, does that hit you at all, or is it?
You know, I'm excited. You know, I know this, my energy and enthusiasm for this place and this program is only become more galvanized in my time here. So I'm as excited as I was my first year. I love this group of guys. It's so much fun, you know, starting this journey with a new group every year, because you understand how challenging it's going to be. I mean, there's beauty in the challenge, and so I'm just excited to get to work, and you know, I'm sure there's going to be some great moments, and I'm sure there's going to be some moments, you know, where we feel like, you know, we got to circle the wagons a little bit, and I love being in those moments.
I just have one more other scheduling thing. I was thinking of Purdue. Remember, you guys
Yeah.
postponed that. Is that still out there, or is it possible?
No. Yeah, I mean, we'll figure out down the line. It doesn't mean we'll never play Purdue again, but you know, we had to make some adjustments in our scheduling deal just because it got a little tricky. You know, and just with the changing landscapes of everything. So, you know, we feel like we're in a good way now, where we're going to be able to be really opportunistic and have a real solid plan about how we schedule, you know, going forward. And you know, you know, we made some decisions, you know, kind of our first year when we got this job that at the time seemed like great decisions. And then just so many things changed, we had to kind of recalibrate a little bit and kind of undo some of that. So, you know, but I always hope, you know, we'll you know, listen, I know you're never going to make a schedule that's going to make every, you know, person in your fan base proud, you know, but hopefully, you know, overall they understand that, you know, our eyes are on it, and we want to do the best job we can to put our program in the best position. And I think, you know what? When our fans, you know, get a feel and a taste of this 20-game Big 12 schedule, I mean, you know, I think they better enjoy that, because I don't know how much better it gets than that.
Well, it seemed like Purdue, because you played them out in Indy.
Yeah.
It seemed like it could be a Phoenix thing, like you're.
I mean,
used to, like,
initially there was, but we had to make some adjustments, and you know, and so Purdue was good enough to let us kind of, you know, do what we needed to do for our program. So there at this point there is no return.
Is that the same with Alabama?
No, we'll be. The plan is for us to play Alabama next year in Birmingham. Yeah.
Do you have a tournament yet for next year?
No.
By the way, how did the Duke? I know it's a long time in the future. The Duke Vegas thing. Is that a promoter, or do you and John agree on that again? Or
Well, you know, John and I have had conversations, you know, about, you know, trying to make sure our programs stay connected, and you know, we feel like there's a lot of value in playing each other. You know, and then you know, you get, you know, trust me, John and I weren't able to have conversations ourselves with Allegiant Stadium and get it reserved. So we have obviously had to work through a third party to put it together, and that's going to be awesome. I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be really cool, and you know, has an opportunity to be a special night for college basketball.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.